Now, does anyone have any particular questions about this? Because there's so much to the game that it's probably easier to show some elements rather than just try to describe them. But if there's any particular questions you have, then do ask away in chat. One of the things I will touch on, though, is a big part of Thea is building up your settlement. Though Thea 2, you can go without a settlement. You can be truly nomadic, because in Thea 1, the settlement was how you crafted, but in Thea 2, you can craft on the go. But you can cook, you can gather, you can craft items, cook items out of various ingredients. I really love the cooking system, the crafting system as a whole in this. You can research different types of items and get better at building them, thus being able to use more ingredients. For example, over here, I've got an option of 4 ingredients on both. Oh, thank you so much there, Dragon Cataphract. That was really kind of you. Diolch yn fawr iawn. Thank you so much for that gift sub there right at the end. Does Thea 2 have a module editor? Yep, absolutely. It's got an even better one than the first one, actually, and that's a very high praise. All of my streams are not yet on Aavak After Hours, no. But as a partner, my VODs will persist for several months on Twitch before Twitch automatically gets rid of them. Sadly, I don't stream for short enough period of time to be able to have my streams persist forever on Twitch, even as a partner. That's typically like if you stream for like 2 hours at a time, whereas mine can sometimes go for like 15 or 16 hours. But I am the vast majority of my streams, not all of them, because some of them they're just kind of one-offs, or the footage doesn't work out. Generally speaking, my streams are all recorded locally onto my computer as well, and then I go through and I edit them out into more bite-sized pieces, do a bit of audio polish, and then put them up over on Aavak After Hours, and they do tend to all end up there. It can take some time, because, you know, obviously editing through a 16-hour stream is a 16-hour job, but, you know, it is one of those things. It's finding the time is the main problem that I struggle with. There isn't enough. Yes, the difficulty of the game does ramp up. You can change these settings, however. Where would I find that? I believe we go to View Summary. Can I bring up? No. Can I? No, I can't do it there either. Okay, keep playing. Resume is there. I can't see where my difficulty options are, but it does have them somewhere. I do believe that the last time I was looking for them, chat also helped me with that as well. Maybe it's here? Nope. Sadly. There is somewhere that I can bring it up though. I'm sure of it. Oh, you can only change them, yes, but I do believe that you can see the difficulty settings for the game. Nevertheless, we're playing on a fairly high difficulty. I think it's like, well, I say fairly high. I think it's like 150% or 200%. It can go up to, I think, 500%. Yes, you can. Your colonists will, well, colonists, I say, the people of your tribe start off as children in many cases and grow up. And in many ways, certain events can change that. So. Escape view summary? No, that doesn't show it. It just brings this up. Oh, there we are. It shows me the game difficulty adjustment. So it's 138%, but it doesn't give me a breakdown of it on the choices I made to set the difficulty at that. That's a bit lower than I thought it was. I keep almost hitting endgame. Ugh. That would be bad news, bears. Turning your children into monsters, I approve. Well, I mean, realistically, that can actually genuinely be sometimes good. You rarely have such a direct choice in the matter, but quite often it can be the end result of certain paths they might tread. When they grow up, it's all based on their stats, what they'll grow up to, or rather what the options for them are. For example, Apocalypticon over here. If we have a look at their various stats here, these are the main stats they have. And children will have the same. Now, generally, certain kinds of classes or professions are unlocked based on having good stats that are like the primary focus for that profession. I believe warrior is always available, but hunter is not. Hunter is based on perception. If your child has a high perception, then when it comes time for them to become an adult, there's a timer that will start once you have the child. And once that timer runs down, they grow up. And the ceremony, you choose the path they go. I think they can always be a warrior, and they can always be a crafter, or always be a gatherer. But every other specialist class requires either just random luck, that they are a member of a different race, or that they have particularly high stats in a certain area. For example, our witch over here had very high mysticism destiny, I should imagine. Maybe intelligence also played into it. And as a result, we were able to select that path for her. But they're not always guaranteed. Sometimes, if the stat is very high, it's pretty much guaranteed that they'll be able to take the option and will end up with the good outcome of that option. But there are often hidden variables as well, and if they're only just able to do it, then it might just come down to luck, whether they go through the trial and emerge victorious, or, they go through the trial and emerge a rat. Don't question it. Don't question. This is Thea. You just learn to accept that sometimes children go off to learn to be, I don't know, a healer, and end up coming back to you as a rat, or a ghost, or any number of other things. It is very interesting. Oh, is that a tainted shaman? Or a clean, a what? A clean? What? It's always crafter or gatherer. Warrior's high strength and only enchants. Right, okay, thank you very much for that. I thought warrior was always a guaranteed, but it might just be that I've never had children with low enough strength not to have that option. The classes in Thea 1, the buildings you had available would give guaranteed options, but in Thea 2, I think it's less a case that they give you guaranteed options, and more a case that they will give you guaranteed improvements to the child's stats. And those stats give you the options. So, the benefit of having children at home, for example, and this is one of the large reasons why we built a home before building a boat and checking out other islands, is just so that we could drop off all our children here and build buildings that will specifically benefit children's chances then to get advanced classes. I appear to have perhaps missed a Thea 2 session somewhere. Don't remember Hungarian Lewis being around, nor their unique face. That is a very, very interesting way of saying it. Hungarian Lewis, worry not, is you probably didn't miss the stream, you probably just missed the consequence of the village. Hungarian Lewis is our house demon. Hungarian Lewis can't leave the village. Hungarian Lewis is tied to the village idol. As you can see there, summon guardian demon. Hungarian Lewis is our guardian demon. Based on the quality of the idol that you build, and ours is not a bad quality. You can get demons with better stats, so on and so forth. Hungarian Lewis can themselves gain levels. In fact, they're only at level 2. They've got a long way to go. Maximum level is, realistically speaking, 20. After 20, all the XP gain is reduced to 1, no matter what. So from every source, you just get 1 EXP. But like the next level is like thousands of EXP. So realistically, you're never going to get past level 20. You can use mods to change that. But... the children, to be honest, you should always leave some adults back at base. It's generally a good place for crafters. And as I've mentioned previously, the way that the difficulty settings are set up, you will have a maximum amount of people that can join into a battle. Like, the combat in Thea is somewhat deck-based. It's very strategical. But it's like a strategy... card game in a way. However, it's less random and more strategy how the cards are available. Like, you have your whole hand available to you all the time, but there is a limit on how many cards you can take into combat. And so if your party, because each person is represented by a card in your hand when you're in the combat phase. And so if you've got more people than you have cards, maximum cards in your hand in the combat, then it'll select people randomly. It'll try to do its best to select the best people, but the game's idea of the best people and your idea of the best people may be different. So I tend to try and have a group that is at or around the maximum hand for combat. So I take the randomness out. Hello, Sims Mage. How you doing, mate? Alright, so that is probably enough describing there. The rest will come easily enough to you as we go on. I really love having pets, though, in this game, I must say. Do we have... You've got a wolf who's going to give you better perception. On a hunter, that makes a lot of sense. You've just got a spider you can summon into a fight. Xantos has a cat who's increasing mysticism. Which makes sense because you're wielding a relic that... oh, hang on. I'm not sure about that one. I think Xantos... just by the look of it, Xantos is and Raptor, actually, were children who very recently leveled up and became adults. Same... Oh, well, Hungarian Lewis is Hungarian Lewis, as we've already discussed. But... when a child levels up, when a child grows up, they start again at level 1. So it's an opportunity to have them gain lots of... If you can level a child up quickly whilst they're a child, you get more rolls on increasing their stats. It's a good way of making very powerful characters. But it looks like you specifically had the cat because I was trying to make you into a healer, and we succeeded in that. So at this point, I'm not really sure that you need the cat anymore. I mean, it increases your sanity, but I think I would prefer to give you a wraith so that you can actually play the wraith. Raptor, having a pet that increases your perception, considering that's the main stat that you do damage with, that makes a lot of sense there, so we'll keep that. But otherwise, I think we're good. How are we doing for food? Let's have a quick look. Oh, we're doing amazingly for food. We've got stupid amounts of different types of food. In this game, the more that, like... just having food is enough to not die, but you get morale bonuses for the more types of distinct food you have, and those morale bonuses give you various ability improvements, which are quite useful. Though it's one thing, one of the interesting things with this game is that a veggie bake and a veggie bake are two different things, because this veggie bake is made with berries and wheat, and this veggie bake is made with berries and seaweed. And so they count as two different meals, even though they are the same meal overall. And so it counts as an extra item in our list. We've got various different types of fuels. I don't allow them to use anything but regular wood, because honestly that's a waste, especially coal, which is incredibly rare and very useful. Currently we're doing a little spot of gathering some malachite by the looks of it. We have got quartz available to us, but we've also got obsidian, and honestly there's no point in gathering quartz when we've got obsidian. that is... The crafting in this cares about the essences of what's being used, outside of cooking. You'll notice there that malachite produces gem essence, 0.9 per unit used. The quartz over here is an improved resource, which means that working with it is easier for your craftspeople. It's also a little bit lighter, and the carry weight of items made from it are going to improve, but the essence produced by it is a little bit lower than you'd expect for the tier of resource it is. Whereas obsidian is the same tier, I believe, as quartz. I could be wrong about that, but actually, looking at 1.4, yeah, obsidian is the next tier up. But nevertheless, obsidian is neither an improved resource or a wild resource, but it produces a lot more stone essence. So things made from obsidian, whilst it'll have qualities that are unique to obsidian, like the weight and such, it's more the essence amount that obsidian brings to the table. I can demonstrate this probably better by just looking at things that I can make. So these are things that I can make out of the materials I have. So for example, granite and quartz and clay are the same tier. So whereas quartz is a little bit harder, there's a slight higher risk of making a trash item if you're working with quartz. It's a little bit harder to work, sorry. It's not easier to work. But the overall value of the items made from it is going to be better than an item made from clay. But they'll have the same essence value. Whereas granite is a wild resource. This is much more risky to work with. You're much, much more likely to make a trash quality item out of it. However, it gives 0.2 more stone essence for each unit used. So it is generally much better than either the other two if you're going for an essence item. And I'll show you why you're going for an essence item. Let's try, you know what, let's just go for leather robes. So the crafting here, we've got, so what do I want to make it? It's leather and gems, or leather, gems, wood and stone. This is because we've actually upgraded our ability to make robes. Normally you'll only have 2 choices on the primary and secondary material, but we have 4 choices here, and that can make a bit of a difference. Let's go for the bog standard though. The simplest of the simple, just bog standard leather. Now, based on the types of leather we're using there, we're producing 8 essence here, 5 essence there. We're getting an extra essence boost because we're so good at making robes that when we make a robe out of leather, it's more leathery than it would be if we weren't as good as making robes. Don't question it, just move on. But based on that, we've got an overall essence level of 16.9. This means we pass the first threshold, and as the essence increases, so does the overall stat of the item. You've got various things like how heavy it is, how hard it is to make, like how much effort needs to go into it, the value of it, and over here, the shielding it will offer. Now, this will offer shielding in all types of combat, whether it's physical combat, mental combat, or mystic combat. But I can't make elemental armor out of it because I don't even crest the first threshold, and I definitely can't make legendary armor out of it because I don't crest the first threshold. Each different type has different kinds of bonuses. So this one just gives me straight up shielding. This one gives me less shielding, but it'll also increase the wearer's overall health, and will also make them a little bit faster. Legendary armor, even less overall shielding, but will increase the wearer's health a little bit less, but not by much, than elemental. A little bit less of an improvement to movement, but still an improvement, but also will make them act faster in combat. So the way you go through it, you know, the essence really matters, because as the essences stack up, you crest these points, and then you get better overall stats. We can't even make it if it doesn't crest that first kind of notch there. But this is with just a basic type of essence. So let's grab enchanted leather. I don't have enough to make this, but if we have a look at that, whilst I still can't make a legendary item, I could make it elemental armor. So we'd get 1 improvement to movement, which is nice on the overworld, a hefty increase of 17% overall health, and 7.4 shielding in every type of battle. But if I just wanted the shielding and nothing else, I would get a lot more if I just made regular armor, because I've crested so many of the kind of thresholds here based on 36 essence. Aavak, sadly, more materials translate into more numbers for the attributes. It is tough to get a good armor piece in tier 2. Well, not always. I do know what you mean. For example, you can go into the designer. Let me show you probably one of the best examples. If I go to the bow here, more numbers does generally make for more, you know, number goes up as the amount of resources you use goes up. So for example, over here, you'll notice that I can use 12 gems there, or 15. I can only pick one of these. So it's like, well, why would you ever go for the 12? Well, maybe I've only got 12 of a much higher resource gem. So maybe I have 12 diamond, but I've got 15 topaz. I could make 15 topaz. And let's just pop this down here so we've got a test bed. So, you know, that gives me 28.1 essence there. But if I use the diamond over here, 32.4. So sometimes going for the lesser number, if you've got a better version of a gem, but you just don't have as many of them, is a completely valid way to do it. But there are some other interesting things. Now, what I hadn't already covered in crafting, because it gets really complicated, but I'll give you a super crash course. The essence types matter. So what we were doing here with the leather is we were just looking at leather. How about leather and gems? Let's grab amber. Okay. Now, you'll notice different things have happened over here. If it was leather and leather, we just have a movement increase, health increase, and some shielding. But when it's leather and gems, well now, even though it's the same number of essence, well, we've got different pattern of bonuses as a consequence of this. Now, quite a lot of items only have a single type of essence they make. Like a diamond only gives gem essence. It just gives a decent amount of it. Regular wood only gives wood essence. Clay only gives stone essence, and so on and so forth. But some of them are hybrids, and they give two different types of essence, but in different amounts. And this is the part where it becomes really interesting. Because although, let's say here, there is no stone on the bow. You can't make a bow out of stone. Don't be silly. However, there is an effect that you can get if you've got stone essence on a bow. Let me show that to you. If I make this out of... This moonstone here has 2.4 stone essence and 1.9 metal essence. Let me just show you what a metal bow would be. So let's use a really nice metal. There we go. It's great. As a legendary version of this bow, it would do true damage, which means it damages both shielding and health at the same time. Does you need to fill the first notch completely to be able to craft advanced armor? I didn't realize for so long that bonuses will still increase partway through a notch and not just when it's fully filled. Oh no, oh absolutely, yeah. You just need to have crested the first notch in order to be able to craft it at all. But every single bit of extra essence can, you know, add a little bit to the overall output of the weapon. So here, for example, we only needed 24 to make it, but it matters that we've got 31.9. Because if we only had 24, I'm not going to bother trying to get exactly 24 to show you. Just trust me that we're probably doing a little bit more damage as a result. But the thing I wanted to show is right now we're only doing metal. Now if I put moonstone up here, this metal has 1.4. Honestly, this is better anyway because it's just better. Actually, let me use metal composite. So it's metal and metal. There we go. 1.5 times perception is the damage down here. That's quite respectable. Now I'm going to drop the metal essence a little bit to add some stone essence. Now, strictly speaking, I'm actually adding more essence overall because all of the essence is being added into it. But now I've got stone and metal essence. And the stone essence is adding shield leech to this bow. So when I hurt someone with this, the person who shot the arrow becomes more armored. That isn't normally something you can put on a bow, because a bow isn't normally able to be made out of stone, but because I've made it out of a composite material that has stone essence in it, I now have stone essence on the bow. The other one to do, and this is my personal favourite, is let's just grab a nice high bone essence. And plonk this. Okay, so this is another thing about the numbers. We've got 12 bone there, 8 items of bone here. I've got 10 items of metal there, or 9 items of metal here. If I put this bone essence here, I've got 10 items of moonstone and 8 essence of rune bone. But if I put the bone up there, I've got 12 rune bones, and I'm only having to give up 1 moonstone for that. It's a better deal. It'll get me more essence overall. So there we go. The flip side would have been this. So 74 versus 81. But this is my personal favorite. If you can get this on a weapon, it's just amazing. It's shield leech and life leech. So every time you hurt someone, you'll get 80% of the damage back as hit points on your character, and 100% of the damage back is hit points on your shield. And the sacrifice is, it's not a very good legendary weapon in terms of its raw damage output, but it's pretty lol. Oh wow, Styx, you beat your first game without ever upgrading your resources? That's actually impressive. Did you just have, you know, great massive mining expeditions to get the upgraded resources from the other islands? Or did you just beat the game with like really low tier weaponry? Because that's super impressive if you did. And yeah, you also push the enemy back into an order with a bow. You slow their reaction down. But yeah, so as a consequence, we're never going to get the essence particularly high. If you don't care, then generally speaking, like you don't care what you get, you're just looking for the biggest numbers, always go for the items that will let you use the most of them. So for example, we'd go with God's Branch, because I can have 14 of those, and the best type of leather I can get, probably, I'm gonna say it's gonna be morph material. Yeah, morph material. Tunk. So there we are. We would do poison damage and shield leech, and you know, quite a lot of it. Whatever the character's perception is, it would be multiplied by 2.4 to do damage to the enemy. If that enemy had any hit points lost at all, it would also gain an extra 60% damage, and it would return 100% of that total damage as shield hit points. Also, it would slow them down by 4.8 seconds. It's pretty powerful. But that is definitely one of the areas where the biggest number is not always the best one to go for. Like once you get into making legendary and elemental weapons, definitely start considering going for things like this, where you can build up really powerful weapons. Now, one of the last things to mention here is there are 3 different essence types here, but only 2 of them are being used. It'll always use the 2 highest essence types. That becomes a problem when you've got things that can count as bone essence over here. Like I can put this over there. But now the 2 highest essences are leather and bone. So that's changed the makeup of the weapon. It's given me more overall essence, but because the leather is higher than the stone essence, I can't use this one. I'd need to use something else. There are, however, is there a leather that has stone? Well, this one would probably work. Yeah, there we go. That would still give us a little bit of a bonus. But you can spend a long time looking through things, trying to find the best types of gear. It's really fun. Crafting is awesome in this. How do I improve the resources, and how did I upgrade the ability to make ropes? Sure, I'll tell you. Okay, so when you get research points, this is what these are up here, research points. Every 30 research points I get, I can do a new advancement. And that number gets higher every advancement I take. This is my current web of resources. The ones that are lit up are ones that I know how to work. Also, ones that I know how to gather.
Sorry, ones that I know how to gather, sorry. I can work them if I've got them. So if I get them from a quest, I can use them. But if I have them unlocked, I can see them on the map and I can gather them. Additionally, I'll get a small amount of them just from unlocking it. So I've unlocked all the way up to Obsidian. They have strict requirements, so you start with all of these unlocked. They're the basic forms of all of the 6 essences. I've unlocked Shadow Bones, and that required the prerequisite bone, but now I could go straight up to Dragon Bone because I only needed Shadow Bone unlocked in order to get that. Obsidian was unlocked because I upgraded to Quartz over Sandstone, Malachite from Amber, and probably the next one I'm going to go for is either Fur Leather or Dryad Wood. Now you can just go ahead and upgrade into Pure Stone from Obsidian, but that will require 3 research points. All of these require 3 research points. These require 2. So getting Obsidian took me a bit of research to get to, but it was worth it in my opinion. Further on, these are composites. So you've got your stone. Everything here going straight up only has stone essence. Here's She-Lab. Siri's about to get her meds. Everything down here has pure metal essence, but these have a combination. So this over here, Armored Stone, is a pure product of obsidian and mithril and has both stone and metal essence, I think in even quantity. This over here is Secret Alloy. This has more metal essence than stone, but it has both. And this is Moonstone. Has more stone essence than metal. And each of these, it works in the same way. So, for example, you'll never get a bone that has stone essence because they're on the opposite sides of the wheel. The only things that'll ever have stone essence, wood, stone, and metal. The only things that'll have metal essence is stone, metal, and leather. The only thing that will ever have gem essence is wood, gems, and bones. So on and so forth. So that's the way you unlock the higher tier resources. And to be able to make higher tier resources, you have to either be able to gather them, unlock them here. But if you've got that ability, you can also cook them in the kitchen. Hello, Cariat. Oh, Siri's come for her meds. Hello, sweetheart. Mwah. Give me a kiss. Come here. Give me a kiss. Mwah. Thank you. As for the ropes, here is my crafting wheel. These are all the items that I can craft. So, for example, I unlocked jewelry, so I can make jewelry. This gave me two things that I could make. 2 options on the primary and secondary material. Upgrading it further meant that I'd gain a 10% bonus to essence. So just making it out of exactly the same things, it would be 10% better. Actually, 20% better, because both the primary and secondary material would get a bonus. And then upgrading it further to expert gives you an additional bonus to it as well. But each one of these unlocked more materials. So for example, over here, the armors. If I have a look at the regular armor here, I can just make things out of leather and gems for robes, for example. But at the second tier, I could make leather, gems, leather, or leather, gems, wood. At the expert tier, leather, gems, or leather, gems, wood, and stone. There you go. Yes, you still get benefits from your deity based on the amount of points you've got in previous games, but it works a little bit differently. At this point... Oh, Siri's being super cute. Oh, she just jumped off the... she just jumped off the couch and is now weasel wall dancing across the floor. But, sorry for the distraction. We've got the god Nyia here. These are the... they come as standard with a couple of basic abilities. But there's much more replayability to the gods now than there used to be. Because previously the level of your god, every time you played the game, the god itself would gain some EXP, and the next time you played, they'd have unlocked different abilities. But now you have points to choose from. As you put more points into the god, you get to unlock more abilities that you can start the game with. These are the abilities that I started with. So, not dead yet. Camp gathering range. I think those two are standard to Nyia, and then these are the other options that you have. You can put different based on the amount of points you have to spend on god bonuses. You might have different ones available to you, or you might just want to play the game in a different way from last time, so you just slot those in. And based on your difficulty setting, you might have less or more points to spend, because each one of these costs a certain amount of points to unlock and also a certain amount of points to play. And the difficulty for that game sets the amount of points you can spend on abilities for your god, whereas your overall god points that you've earned across all games, you can just spend those on unlocking abilities all you want. Yeah, this deity is pretty amazing. Fits not only because of the not dead yet. If your chosen dies, they reanimate, which is basically saving you from a game over. But also, your followers in general have a lower chance to die. But camp gathering range. As a camp, like just as nomads, this god is amazing because you've got extra range on your gathering ability as a camp. Alice, thank you so much for the 14 months. Diolch yn fawr iawn. Just got done playing Back for Blood beta. It was fun. How is Thea going? Well, we haven't actually started the stream proper yet, but it's going well so far. So, Barrington, good morning to you, mate. I hope I caught that earlier, but if I didn't, you get a good morning now. If I did, then you've got 2 good mornings. But yeah, so that's the general thing. You've also got cooking, because there's lots of different meal types. We've unlocked quite a lot of them now, and we've unlocked a couple of village buildings. We haven't yet built the school. I'm strongly considering it. But we have built the children's playground, and that was an important one, because it is increasing the attributes of our children. We've also unlocked the various blessings, which is quite nice, because this gives us various blessings on our companions. So if we were going up against a nasty challenge, we could perhaps do a ritual to gain a blessing for the challenge. We've got all sorts of buildings you can build in the town, but you don't need to build a town. You can absolutely play this game without a town. Right, with all of that said and done, though, time for us to actually set up Dragon's Rest with some stuff. Currently, again, I'm gathering malachite, I'm gathering some iron, I'm gathering obsidian, seaweed, and fruit. Do we need food cooked? I suspect we probably do. I'm also doing a bit of research as well while we go. At this point, every turn we're generating an extra point of research just whilst we're sat here, which is actually quite nice. This is how you upgrade materials, by the way. For those who are asking, you click in here, materials, under the cook section. And from here, you can make anything that you... Oh, can I actually do this one? Even though I don't... No, I can't do it because I have not researched it. Oh, right. I'll get very few back as a result of not having researched it. I see. But you use coal. This is pretty much why coal is amazing. You can use things to craft into other things. So, for example, over here, if I were to take 4 regular bones, I would get... actually, let me see. There, sorry. 8 regular bones becomes a shadow bone. Or rather, a shadow bone becomes 8 regular bones. So hang on a second. Oh, no, there we are. That's an odd one. Why does it have that right next to it? That's a bit of a strange one. But I think this is how we would go about making it. I can't be totally certain, but either way, one way turns into the other. That 4 bones equals 1. No, it must be this way around then. So we would cook it with coal and just regular bones, I'm assuming. Because cooking with, like, regular cooking doesn't mention the wood cost, even though there is always a wood cost. I assume that's how it works. Do let me know, chat, if I'm wrong about that. I haven't really upgraded resources too much in the past. So I really don't know. But I'm assuming that's how you build up to it. Because that would make sense here. So, 1 shadow bone. Oh, we'd get coal back, and we'd use 1 shadow bone, and we would end up with 4 regular bones. Is that perhaps what happens there? Because yeah, no, this one's definitely a downgrade recipe. Do we end up with Shadowbone out of it, though? Sorry, coal and Shadowbone out of it. The product is what you're selecting along the top. Yeah, indeed. So over here, for example, if I wanted to make Shadowbone, I would use 8 regular bone and 2 and I'd get 2 Shadowbone out of it. That makes sense. But over here, it says plus coal. Because right here, it's just saying I spend bone, but I get shadow bone. My confusion here is because what I'm seeing doesn't match up to what I imagine the process would be. T1 to T2 always doesn't take coal. Right, okay. But to make bone out of 1... Oh, that kind of makes... Well, it doesn't actually make sense. So we get 4 bone here. From 1 shadow bone plus 1 coal. Why on earth would I be spending coal to downgrade? Oh well. T2 to D1 does take coal. Okay. Well, thank you very much, Mai. That is very helpful. For a moment there, I thought, well, can I just break down my shadow bone into coal and bone? Because I will absolutely do that to upgrade something else. But... sadly, my hopes and dreams dashed. Oh well. But that's how you craft more different types of upgraded components. Right, we've got 30 mushroom bake. I want to have a nice big collection of things, so maybe some veggie bake. Well, no, we've already got a decent amount of that. Let's have a look. We can only make vegetarian choice. I don't want to use my herbs because that's too useful for healing. So let's make some green soup. And also some... well, actually, we've got fairly limited choices here. Some mushrooms and fruit. So we'll have a veggie break there. We'll have lots of different types of veggie bake. Pop you there so you'll make loads of them. Pop you there so you make loads of them. And the last person can help out a little bit with research just for now. Oops. Catling on your keyboard. Basically, the cat just had their probably just flumped down on the up arrow and enter. That's all that happened there. Quick purge to clear the chat, and you should be good to go. I love that Styx is trying to help out, though. It's like, uptime is the command you're looking for. Maybe the cat was looking for the command. Alright, so we got some obsidian, got a little bit of research, got some more food, and got a level up. Because our god is giving all of our characters a slight bit of EXP every turn. Generally speaking, adding a new sub-skill now for you is not that useful to me. It would be better for me to double down and make the skills you've got stronger. Quite a lot of food there. Okay, we're now out of the veggies we're going to need there. So let's get you down. You're going to be out of the wheat in a moment. I need someone who's particularly good at gathering. You're the best gatherer, realist. Well, actually, you're the second best, so let's move you on to there. Let's still take me 2 turns to gather it, but that's fine. You'll be finished there very soon. As for new crafting options, we don't have a lot that we can do right now, because I can't get enough essence to make legendary items, but I can do some jewelry, I would think. I could make extraction jewels, soul tape. No, I want something that will be able to handle maybe obsidian? 11.5, just going for basic protection would be pretty solid here. Let's get some more of these jewels made. It's going to be a heavy jewel, but I think obsidian is one of the highest essence amounts that we've got that I can place here. We don't quite have enough ruby to be able to place up there. I would otherwise use it. Mind you, could use dragon bone, but using dragon bone there seems like a big waste. No, let's go ahead and use this. There we go. Let's just get a an item that can block decently. There we go. It'll take me 2 turns to make. Coal or charcoal? Oh hey, Abriah. I'm not used to seeing your name with the path at the beginning. How you doing, mate? A level 3 group over there. They wouldn't be able to stand against our village in even the slightest way, so we don't need to worry about that one at all.